Your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. There's a glimmer of hope tonight for hundreds of Temco workers whose jobs are on the chopping block. The company has confirmed it is speaking with potential buyers for the Bell Bay smelter.
A small but significant sign for hundreds of workers.
Today's briefing has given us some real encouragement for the first time since May this year that there could in fact be a future for Temco.
South 32, the company behind Temco, today announcing it's assessing its divestment options for its smelter site. The Australian Workers Union says employees were made aware of the developments this morning. It understands the company is in discussions with a number of potential buyers.
Beyond that, we don't know how many or who they are.
The state government says the news is bittersweet.
Whilst it will be a difficult period, and obviously for both management and staff at the Temco facility, it's certainly good news in that they continue to go through the process and the option of Temco continuing remains alive.
The business is expected to provide its next update in March, leaving workers in limbo until then.
Very worst outcome is these workers will now have stable, reliable income for the next 5 months, and that wasn't previously the case.
Despite the ongoing uncertainty, there is now a new sense of hope and optimism by workers and the wider community.
But I think they can draw a degree of comfort out of this. We remain optimistic, but very cautiously optimistic.
The faster they can get to a definitive outcome, so all these employees know where they stand, the better. But it is what it is. You have to respect that. They've got to look at all of the information. They've got to speak to all of the third parties or potential suitors.
Letitia Wallace, 7 Tasmania News.
The government tried to keep it secret, but tonight serious security concerns have been exposed about the Ashley Youth Detention Centre. In sections of a report meant to be censored, an inspector found some fences are scalable and security cameras aren't adequately monitored.
Deficiencies at the Ashley Youth Detention Centre laid bare. A damning custodial inspector's report tabled in Parliament. Parts of the report deemed sensitive had been redacted, but in a bungle could still be read.
Most of the issues raised are ones that we are well aware of and are continuously working on through training of our young people and upgrading our facilities. That's why we've got over $7 million dedicated to the project of upgrading Ashley.
In items meant to be censored, the report found there's no screening device at the gatehouse to detect contraband. The perimeter fence doesn't prevent people scaling it, and CCTV is rarely monitored, raising concerns that many use of force reports against the young detainees did not contain enough detail, were not signed or dated, and others had copy and pasted information.
We think that there has to be an immediate investigation into exactly what's going on in Ashley. Ashley has to be closed. It is so dysfunctional.
I think Ashley still has a role, but we need to look at restorative justice and other strategies for making sure that kids don't end up in jail to start with.
The department says it's since upskilled staff and is implementing new processes.
The custodial inspector overall was satisfied with the standard of care and the conditions at Ashley, but also pointed to room for us to keep up with our training.
Turning to adult prisons, the inspector said staff shortages often led to prison lockdowns, concerned about the classification of some prisoners and the incorrect calculation of sentences.
There are too few correctional officers to unlock the prisons, so inmates are being locked down on a routine basis. That means they're not being able to access the programs and the training that they need.
Finding some inmates were living in unhygienic conditions. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
We have developing news from State Parliament tonight, with police arresting several underage protesters demonstrating for climate action. For the latest on the situation, our reporter Louise Hedger joins us live from the scene. Lou, good evening. What's unfolded there tonight?
Joe, the area is a lot calmer now than it was just a few hours ago. The police cleared this scene a very short time ago. The protesters had blocked several of the exits at Parliament House and the Government Executive Building for 45 minutes. They say the politicians shouldn't be leaving work today because they still have a lot of work to do to fight climate change. Now, in the last hour, police moved in and arrested around 18 of the protesters who had refused to move. 7 Tasmania understands understand several of those protesters are underage. Joe, there's no word on charges for those minors or any of the other protesters for that matter, but they're not giving up the fight. Activists say they're only just beginning.
OK, thanks very much for that report. Louise Hedger joining us live there. A formal complaint against a Hobart City councillor by a local women's group has been partially upheld by a panel. Women Speak says Holly Ewan posted false comments about the group on Facebook, comparing its anti-transgender stance to the Nazis. Our reporter Ruby Kamain has more.
After a 3-month investigation, a panel found Councillor Holly Ewan did breach 2 parts of the elected member code of conduct back in May and June. A determination report claiming Councillor Ewan posted Facebook statuses comparing local advocacy group Women Speak to the Nazis, accusing it of equating trans people to sex-crazed predators, also saying it's made up of a small group of people whose only public work focuses on excluding trans people, full of fear, anger and hate. The councillor's comments in the wake of backlash from Women Speak over Councillor Ewan's push for trans and gender diverse signs to be displayed in public bathrooms.
It's a real shame that Women Speak have been so aggressive in their response. Perhaps inadvertently, they have stirred up bad feeling towards transgender and gender diverse people.
The investigation found the comments could have caused offence or embarrassment. The councillor responding in a statement, saying Women Speak fits every descriptor of a hate group and that she refuses to apologise for calling out transphobic discrimination.
From Transforming Tasmania's point of view, it's really a matter of one needs to choose your words wisely when speaking about Women Speak Tasmania.
The panel did conclude a public apology would be too severe, taking into account the councillor's short experience. The determination report now on the agenda for the next council meeting on Monday. Women Speak was contacted for comment.
The first stage of a plan to relocate the University of Tasmania to Inverest has been approved by the Launceston City Council. The development application received the green light, 9 votes to 1 at today's meeting. The approval will see the construction of a library and bridge. Some conditions have been imposed on the development. Tasmania's infrastructure bureaucrats have revealed their vision for the future needs of the state. The 30-year strategy includes possible projects like a new Tamar River Bridge, an eastern bypass of Launceston and another bridge in Hobart when the Tasman reaches capacity. It raises the idea of an autonomous vehicle trail and establishment of an electric vehicle charging network, but the strategy was criticised in Parliament for lacking real action.
But it is completely devoid of specific projects, delivery timelines or recommendations. Instead, it's full of weasel words and consultant babble.
I would ask the opposition to stop mocking our public servants who have worked hard and have delivered the strategy which is currently out for consultation.
Infrastructure Tasmania is calling for feedback until November. A world-first facility capable of crash testing submarines has opened in Launceston. The centre is set to be a game changer for improving the engineering and safety of submarines.
As you get behind the wheel of your car, you can take comfort in that it's been properly crash tested. But I'm sure you haven't thought about submarines undergoing the same process. The Australian Maritime College in Launceston officially opening an underwater collision research facility. It hopes to change how submarines are engineered.
What we expect to do in the next 10 years is to develop an analysis methodology that can confidently be applied to improve the accuracy of the design of submarines and underwater vehicles.
Given the hefty price tag of submarines, the facility uses a different approach to crash test them. A large drop weight is used to smash model parts. Up to half a tonne of weight can be dropped on the components to see what impact it has and how safety can be improved.
We want to make sure that if there's a collision, that the submarine and its crew survive. So this is what enables us to ensure that Australia's new submarines have the greatest survivability capability possible.
And the facility has far-reaching potential.
We can shock test equipment, We can investigate, for example, pipelines, underwater pipelines or underwater cables like the bus link, for example. You don't want to drop an anchor and damage it.
Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
If you're turned off when a car struggles to turn on, then this next challenge isn't for you. 10 Tasmanians are heading off tonight for an adventure across the country in cars worth less than $1,000.
Checking their engines before driving off on a cross-country adventure. These teams participating in the boldly named event, the Shitbox Rally. It's where cheap and tacky cars aren't just encouraged, they're essential.
No aircon in 2 of the cars, so the yellow car, which is a Nissan 300ZX, and the Hyundai XL, no aircon. The Peugeot, on the other hand, is very luxurious with air conditioning. We fixed that last week.
We've covered our car in gold, which took quite some time. If you ever put contact on books before, you'd know how hard that is.
Driving their colourful creations from Melbourne to Townsville to raise funds and awareness for the Cancer Council.
This year, so far, we've raised $2.1 million as of yesterday sometime, so a bit over 2.1, and the Tasmanian team so far, we've raised around $55,000.
They'll be roughing it on outback roads and sleeping in tents for the cause. They're confident they can do it, but will their cars hold up?
A lot of driving, a lot of rough roads, there's going to be a lot of breakdowns for sure. And hopefully we at least get on the Spirit tonight without any breakdowns.
We left 10 minutes ago and our check engine light came on, so yeah, but I'm sure we'll get there, won't be a problem at all.
They struggled making it out of the car park, with the rest of the journey sure to be an even bigger challenge. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
Back home, and TSL star Jay Bowden is set to become the first person still playing the game to be inducted into the Glenorchy Football Club's Hall of Fame at an awards night next month. Traditionally, a player would be given the honour after retiring from the game, but Bowden's coach says the forward's list of achievements was too great to ignore.
And we saw that this year, you know, getting his 500th goal and moving within striking distance of Peter Hudson on our goal-kicking list. Like, when your name's mentioned in the same sentence as Hutto, then that says everything you need to know.
Bowden has played 237 games and has kicked 531 goals for the Pies. One of Tasmania's most well-loved motor racing events is gearing up for another run, with the 2019 Domain Hill Climb set to be one of the biggest and best yet, and this year holds extra significance after the event was in danger of fading into history. Following one of its most popular years in 2018, organisers were blindsided when the Hobart City Council voted to scrap the event due to concerns around safety and noise pollution.
Met up at a club meeting which we had the week after we found out that it was gone, and you know, we almost couldn't talk for about 10 minutes. We're just so upset.
But after a petition to save the event gathered around 2,000 signatures, common sense prevailed as council reversed its decision, allowing the historic event to continue.
We were able to point to how good our planning was and how good our support is, how many people we get coming along and how many people wanted to keep coming.
Sunday's race will once again see drivers push their passion projects to the limit up Hobart's iconic domain as the popularity of the event continues to grow, ensuring its survival long into the future.
Like, there's been an event of some form at the domain since the 1950s, so it's pretty good that that can continue because I think it's a real part of the heritage of Hobart and the domain in particular.
To hockey, and it's crunch time for the Tassie Tigers men's and women's sides as they prepare to take on the Blaze in Brisbane tomorrow night for a clash with the Chill in Canberra on Sunday. Both sides will need to win at least one of their 2 matches to keep their Hockey One finals hopes alive following a slow start to the tournament.
I think we just need to work on our basics and tackling around the circle. We conceded 3 penalty corners against New South Wales, which really hurt us.
We've identified that we've got some really good ball handlers and we just need to be reading off them a little bit better and taking the opportunities inside the circle when they come for us.
Good evening. The southwest with just above average temperatures today. The rest a bit cooler. Hobart 15, Launceston 19, Burnie and Devonport 14 degrees. Strawn had 17 today, Ouse and Smithton 16, St Helens 15 degrees, King Island, Lowhead and Friendly Beaches 14 and Flinders Island 13. A band of mid to high level cloud over the northeast today brought a couple of thunderstorms over Ben Lomond and also some patchy rain, some scattered convective cloud over the rest of the state. Now that band over our northeast also drifts over Victoria. A large band of cloud cloud is over the southern ocean in advance of a cold pool of air, storm clouds through central Australia and inland Queensland. Tomorrow a high remains over South Australia and New South Wales, but this strong cold front approaches Tasmania, numerous troughs and lows over northern Australia as well. Winds west and northwesterly at 20 to 30 knots over the west and north, increasing during the day before tending westerly later. We have a gale warning, that's from Tasman Island to Stanley, a strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters and the inland lakes as well. We have a bushwalkers alert for the Western and Central Plateau districts and a warning to sheep graziers for all districts. So a bit of woolly weather tomorrow. Hobart showers developing, 18 the top, 17 for Huonville, showers developing for Campania, 19 the high. Launceston 15, a windy day with showers on the way, 14 for Devonport and Georgetown, same sort of forecast. Burnie, showers becoming windy and 14, 15 the top for Strawn, showers and wind for Wynyard, 15 the high. St Helens tomorrow a top of 16 degrees, a shower or two, 17 for Swansea and Port Arthur. On Saturday, showers extending statewide late morning with snow to 600 metres. Showers over the west and south on Sunday, easing and contracting to the west. And on Monday, fine apart from easing showers over the west coast. A sunny 26 in Perth tomorrow, an afternoon shower for Adelaide and Melbourne. Sunny over Canberra and Sydney. Fine and 28 in Brisbane. Sunny in Hobart, 14 at the moment, 16 right now in Launceston, mostly sunny in Devonport and 13 degrees. It's Friday already tomorrow, Joe. See you for happy hour tomorrow night.
That will make me happy. Thank you very much, Murph. That's all from the team for now. Thanks for your company. We'll see you a little later. Bye-bye.